Welcome to another episode of Finding Serenity in the Midst of Chaos podcast. Today, we're talking about the four most common mistakes that women make, or that will always lead to burnout. So stay tuned. Hi, Ian.
Hello, July.
How are you today?
Oh, very well, thank you.
Yes.
Interesting topic again, as always.
It is interesting. I know our podcast listeners will recognize and remember perhaps that we've talked about burnouts many, many times before, especially last year. We'd done a whole series on this topic, but I want to revisit it because it's a topic that is so close to the people that I work with and to the people that I serve. And I also realized that we haven't covered it in the videos because we weren't videoing our podcast at the time. So it's going to be on YouTube from tomorrow even. We're recording a day ahead today. So I'm so excited to cover this because specifically I'm going to talk about the four mistakes that ambitious moms, professional women who like to be everything for everyone make, and why that always leads to burnout. And, you know, it's not coming from a place of judgment. It's coming from a place of understanding and knowing, because that's where I've been most of my life. So, yeah.
And that's the thing, isn't it, with these conversations? We kind of reflecting our own experience. We haven't sort of swatted up on textbooks and then regurgitated. It's all based on what we've done.
Yes,
one or either of us.
Exactly. Well, I'm not very good at regurgitating information from textbooks anyway.
Good thing. Well, we're on the right lines then.
We are indeed. And here's the if you are coming to this podcast right now and want to know what today's topic is really about and who is it for, I wanna call out this will especially relate to you if you've been feeling exhausted, anxious, unmotivated to do things that you normally like to do, or you know lights you up, but you just can't be bothered to do them anymore, and you're starting to feel a bit cynical towards everything and everyone that you interact on a daily basis, and maybe turning a little bit sarcastic, which I know that can turn into toxicity quite quickly without you realizing it. So if you are starting to have these symptoms, please pay attention. This class is especially for you, and you will love this because we will cover the four most common mistakes women like you make that will always lead to burnout, again, without you knowing, because this has been your default way of being all your life. And I will try and dismantle the most important reasons behind all of this, because when we know why, we can actually do something about them, and what you can do today to start to help yourself, you know. And that's what our aim is, because we like to help people who are listening every day, every week. Today that's exactly what we're going to talk about.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's the aware. It's not the judgment, as you say. It's not you know, making people out to feel smaller than they should be. It's just making you aware of those dangers that you fall into without really thinking about it. And you know, before you know it, you're somewhere you don't want to be. That's kind of fundamentally what we do, isn't it, really?
That's right. And the thing is, most of these things we do on autopilot, and there are some like 5 signs that we've started to make it feel as if this is like the new normal, you know, how people accept the life as it is, and you know, do everything on autopilot. And don't get me wrong, doing everything on autopilot is a good thing in some way, because if you have to learn to do your teeth every day, then that would be a very much waste of your energy. Or you have to learn to ride a bike or drive, that would be a waste of your energy. So there are things that doing things on autopilot is a great thing, but there are things that has become our patterns of being, which isn't that helpful to us. And that's why I wanted to just very quickly talk about those 5 signs that you may be experiencing first, before I go into the reasons and the mistakes that you're making in order to combat perhaps those signs.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. I was thinking, especially if you're feeling emotionally drained for no reason, absolutely, you know, you can't even feel like lifting your hand up, and you just like, you feel empty, you know. And there's times I felt like this in my life, you know, doing the same things, being with the same people every day, whatever, I just felt empty. And things that used to make me really excited started to feel like a chore. And I basically started to physically feel drained for absolutely no reason. You know, you haven't like lifted a heavy weights or do anything. It's just you feeling emotionally drained and exhausted physically. And can't even bring yourself to do simple tasks that you would normally do. And it's just, again, this emptiness kind of throughout the day. And again, the cynicism is the worst part. You become so cynical and so sarcastic towards events and people, and it's just kind of given up on yourself, given up on people, keep giving up, right? We've spoken about this quiet quitting thing before. You remember? So it's about a bit like that. And if you're experiencing any of these signs, then this is the video to pay attention. This is the episode to listen to, because you will find yourself in everything that I'm about to say. But does any of these ring true to you, Ian?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and it's this bit about, you know, the emotional drain leading to a physical drain. You know, physical thing, because as though, you know, you use the example though you've been lifting weights, or, you know, you could say going on a run or a long walk or something like that, or a cycle ride. Yeah, something physically enduring. If you have done something physically enduring, that's quite a nice, what I call a nice tiredness, a nice fatigue.
That's
a
right. I
fatigue.
know. Yeah.
But the mental, emotional, you know, overwhelm is not a nice thing. So yeah, and you know, I think you do start becoming a bit sort of cynical and sarcastic about what's going on, really. And at that point, you kind of feel that you've stepped away, you've just stepped out of the scene, and you know, this is no longer me, but yeah, I've got to still be here in it.
I know, right? Yeah, that's a really
That's the worst.
That's a great metaphor to use, as if you're looking at yourself from the outside, but you are still kind of having to function, as we call it, as opposed to live. But we're not here to just function, right? We are here to live. We are here to you know, bring our energy to this world and
live and thrive. There you go.
Thrive, that's the word.
Yeah, thrive. Or thrive if you want, but yes, yeah, rather than just exist, isn't it, for the sake of, and you know, yeah, it's an existence or it's a life, and you know, we want life in all its fullness, really.
Exactly. And you know, if you're, for example, feeling like your head is spinning with constant demands that's coming at you from everywhere, you mentioned the word overwhelm. You know, you've got to be a good mom, you've got to be a good boss, you've got to make sure everybody's fed, you've got to make sure that, you know, all the sports days, everything is sorted out, and your head is literally spinning with all of these things, and you know, you can't fulfill either. One of them is making you feel like you're frustrated because you can't keep up with it, and the other one is making you feel guilty because you can't be there for your kids all the time, or when you are with your kids, you're not fully present. You're having to think about the next thing on your list, checking your emails, looking at your phone or whatever, and that's not nice. And again, even though you didn't necessarily physically done awful lot of things like we've described, you're still feeling exhausted, and that exhaustion comes from the stuff that's running in the background in your head. And that makes your decision making a very difficult process. You know, is it this, is it that, what do I do, does it suit this person, does it suit that person? And it's just like you're living externally, you're living for other people. But then what you forget is that if you take yourself out of this equation, everyone else just disappears as well. And, you know, this might be brutal to say, life will go on.
Yes, yeah.
But you still need to take care of yourself if you want to be part of this life, as opposed to the existence, as we call it.
Yes.
So, yeah. And, you know, this is, again, no judgment. I've been in this situation myself for years. I've worked in corporate for 20 years, 20 whatever years. And at that time, I was having to work full time, look after kids, be on top of housework and everything else, and work. And there was a time in my life I started to feel really frustrated, really angry, really guilty. And, you know, what happens when you squeeze a lemon? the lemon juice comes out. So whatever was inside of me was coming outside. And that's when I decided that this is not going to be my way of being for the rest of my life anymore.
Yeah.
And
Great.
this is why I want to bring this to the attention of everybody who's here today.
That's it. So you made the decision. You got to the point and said, no, that's enough. Now I'm going to sort this. So there's an awareness. This is what we're going to help people to do.
Yeah.
If people can identify with what we've been talking about, this is where they really want to be listening.
This is where they really want to be. So if you are watching this video right now, and if you're listening, stay tuned. If you are watching it on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button, because then you're going to be getting more videos like this every week. That's going to help you today and from today, basically. So what we try and do in order to combat all of this, we start to try and control everything and everyone and every situation by making lots of little lists, making plans for everyone without considering what they might contribute to it or anything else, without considering, most importantly, how we feel and what we need. And this is specifically if you are having to, if you've got reportees at work, if you've got children at home, if you've got a husband, whatever, that you're trying to control everybody's actions, lives, and inactions for that matter. And that kind of starts to grate on you, as you can imagine, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It's just not going to be how you think.
This whole grip on trying to control, right? And the second mistake people make is learning more, working harder, faster, longer, yet still not getting there. It's like driving a car with a handbrake on. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Or on a set of rollers that are going nowhere, you're just, the wheels are going round.
And you've given this example before, didn't you? You try and go up the hill with a rusty old bike instead of the ones that has the gears and
the oil, and
it's not getting anywhere, but you try and pedal even harder, still to not get there faster, but you are actually draining all of your energy. And this is why we are burning out. Yeah,
you get to the same place slower, having burnt out more. And, you've actually not achieved any more. You've just burnt yourself out. And we must not equate that kind of burnout effort with achievement, must we?
No, definitely
there is not a correlation there. When you get to the top of the hill, that's it. You want to get to the top of the hill in the easiest way possible, not the hardest way possible.
And this is, we said, when things are easy, we kind of feel, I didn't deserve that or whatever.
Yes, I can't take the easy way out. That's lazy. I mean, that's just not right.
Easy doesn't equal lazy, and that's what we need to get to the bottom of, isn't it? We don't controlling others make us feel like we are in control, but we are not, because you can't control anyone. Here's an example. One of my clients recently said, people need to be made happy. Well, other people's happiness isn't your responsibility. And here's an example. This person was given the flexibility to pick up her kids at school. But when she picked up her kids, she still felt guilty. And as a result, she wasn't happy. She felt guilty because she couldn't do the work, but she feels guilty if she doesn't pick up her kids because she's losing out on the time with them. So even though her boss did everything that he or she could to help her feel happy, she still wasn't feeling happy. So the happiness doesn't come from other people's actions towards you, but it comes from within you. It's a decision that you make.
Well, that's really key.
For yourself.
Interesting.
Isn't it?
Very important. Yeah.
Very important. Wow. And this is why by placing other people's happiness in your hands, you're giving your power to them. And when you're powerless, then there's not much you can do about yourself, is there?
I love that, giving your power away. I wish, I'd have come across that very simple sentence 20 years ago, because I've done plenty of that in my life. Yeah,
exactly.
But it's good, it's good to verbalize these things and have, I used to laugh a lot, working in corporate like yourself. I used to laugh a lot at some of these cliches and one-liners that people come up with. I think I've put all the examples out of my head now, but some are better than others. And yeah.
So
It's gone.
number 3, mistakes, going back to the mistakes, hoping, praying, and waiting for things outside of us or people or the situation or the circumstances to change before we change. And you probably remember that we've talked about this before. I will be happy when the schools close, when the kids start school, when I have this new car, when I get promoted, whatever.
Yeah, it's always in the future. It's just out of our grasp, isn't it? In the future, but it'll be great when we get there.
And it's a conditional way of living. It has something has to happen for us to be happy or for us to do something that we want to do.
I see what you mean. Yeah, conditional. Like, something's got to happen. I get it. Yeah.
I mean, if you have children, do you say to your child, I will only love you when you eat your dinner. I will only love you when you don't cry. I will only love you when you sleep 8 hours a day, whatever. You know, just making silly examples. But this is what the conditioning feels like. So we put conditions and limitations on ourselves in order to not do something for us, and then we end up feeling frustrated and exhausted because we are not doing what we want to do in this world, and you're not you're still feeling empty, unfulfilled, and constantly just waiting on something else to happen before you could be happy, before you could be, you know, taking that promotion, whatever. So that in itself is just exhausting, just talking about it, right?
Yeah, well, it is really, yeah, because you could just see quite obviously how it's just not helping, is it, really?
It's not.
You know?
And then we talked about making decisions, asking everyone else for their opinion first. So asking for the answers outside of ourselves. I mean, okay, it's good to sometimes talk it over with your partner, whatever, but then they're not going to make the decision because the decision doesn't necessarily affect them directly. It affects you, but you're not considering what's important to you. You're considering how your decision will affect other people.
Yes.
And that's right. Again, trying to control how other people will react to this situation, which you can't.
No.
As you know.
No, all makes a lot of sense. I've been there, I've done it, I've wasted a lot of time and energy in that sort of area, but I'm still here and living a fulfilling life. So you can change, you can get over these things.
Yeah, and you can.
I'm living testimony of that.
Exactly. And we are not saying it again like for judgment. We are saying because we see this time and time again with people that I work with, but I also see the other side of it. I also see the transformation that happens to people, which is so exciting and so incredibly fulfilling for me and those who make the transformation, because this isn't normal. This isn't how we should live our lives. And this isn't, why we are here for. We are not here to please everybody. We are here to live a harmonious life with the people that we love. And that are important to us.
And with others around, and then that comes from inside of you, and then that flows out. We're talking about doing it the wrong way around here, aren't we? Let's get everything external sorted first, and then internally I'll be all right then. But we're turn it on its head. You know, we've got to get ourselves right first inside, and then that will emanate outwards, and then that sort of harmony and relationship and unity and whatever will come. I think that's what we're saying, isn't it?
Yeah. So these are the 4 mistakes that we make to try and fix the problem of not getting appreciated by others and not getting where we want in life and not being able to make decisions. But we're still focusing on the wrong problem. We're trying to fix a problem rather than eliminating the problem from the cause in the first place.
Yeah, great.
You know?
Good one.
And that's exactly what you say. That's the backwards way of doing it, isn't it? It's the wrong way around.
Yeah.
But like I said, this isn't your fault. You know, no one talks about the cause. Everybody gives you remedies. Here's 3 tips for you to do X, Y, Z. Great. Right. But how am I going to apply it? How does this relate to me? How does this help me manage my day on a daily basis? And this is why consuming content from here, there, and everywhere. It's all well and good, but how does this apply to me? And this is what we are trying to do here. How does this apply to you? I want you to consider, where in your life have you been doing that for yourself, you know, trying to control every situation, working harder, longer, faster, in the hope that things will change, whilst you still believe that you're not worthy of the success. You know, you can get all the job titles, but if you don't believe you're worthy of the success, it doesn't matter. You don't get to celebrate it. You still feel unfulfilled and empty and whatever inside. And where in your life have you been putting things off? You know, I will do it, you know, in 2 years from now, when everything is all gray and kids have finished school, whatever. And asking for the answers outside. Because the answers don't come from outside, even though we might think, oh, your friend says, yeah, go do that. But what does she know? She's not in your life. You know, she could be your best friend, but sometimes people who love us don't have our best interest at heart. And, you know,
interesting.
I don't mean this in a bad way, but this is what it means. If you say to your child, you know, don't go out at 11 o'clock at night. Yes, you have their interest at heart, but you also have your interest. You're thinking about yourself because you want him to be safe. Because you want to be in front, you want him to be in front of you and not have to worry about him. So you still have your own interest. So if your friend says, go do that, perhaps she's trying to protect you from what she thinks may or may not happen. But this is no longer your priority, perhaps. But your friend doesn't know that. What she knows is that she wants to have you to herself. Just a, you know, a thought out
good
there.
Stuff. Yeah, okay. Yeah, right? Good one. Lots to think about. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a lot to think about. And that's where we start from. And what, you know, I know there's so many people. Yesterday I had a whole training about this very thing that I talked about today. And what I gave those people is that free audio that we have, which is to calm their nervous system down first, calm their brain down, and stop focusing on all these controlling others and all of that sort of stuff. Just be for now. And that audio, I'm going to put the link in the show notes and in the description of this video, so you can download that video audio and start listening to it from today.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
we're running out of time, I think.
We are almost out of time, Ian. And just before we go, I want to make sure I invite everybody today who's listening and who's watching to a 2-part training series, which is going to cover all the burnout related topics that, you know, which is my signature training, talking about 3 main causes of burnout that, you know, that we have in our lives, and how to avoid burnout for good and start living a more balanced life. So those 2 trainings will take place at 12 p.m. UK time next week. The first one is 19th of March, and the 26th of March, the second one. So those 2 trainings will take place. I will put the invitation in the video as well, so you can join and come on Zoom to enjoy those trainings.
Right. So if the date hasn't passed, and people could be watching this at some point in time in the future. So if we haven't gone beyond the 19th of March and the 26th of March, 2024, then you've still got the opportunity to join. I guess if we're beyond that time, is that a no-go then, Chulai?
Well, if it is beyond that time, you can always book a free call with me to find out more about what Serenity Method is and what it can do for you. The door is always open. And as long as there is space for you to work with me, there will always be, you know, ways to get into my world. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. Good. That's it then. We're out of time for today. Thank you, Chulai. Great chat. And, you know, if people join us for the first time, welcome. If you're a regular, great to have you back. And you know, there's lots and lots more coming over the weeks.
Yeah. Bye.